Imagine waking up one day to find you've somehow adopted an evil spirit as a roommate. Now you might be thinking, how bad could it possibly be? Well, let's just say it's a bit like having a pet, but instead of a cute, cuddly kitten, you've got a spectral menace that has a knack for knocking over your favorite vase or leaving trails of ectoplasmic goo on your brand new carpet. And remember those quiet, peaceful mornings you used to enjoy? Yeah, those are a thing of the past. Instead, you're greeted by the clattering of dishes and the sound of spectral laughter echoing through your hallway. It's a bit like living with a hyperactive toddler who's just discovered they can walk. Only this toddler is invisible, and instead of sticky fingerprints, they leave a cold, eerie chill in their wake. This is not the kind of roommate you'd want to split your Netflix account with. Now, imagine trying to live your normal life with this invisible prankster around. Picture this. You've just settled down on your couch, a bowl of popcorn in your lap, ready to binge watch the latest season of your favorite show. You reach for the remote, but alas, it's nowhere to be found. You search high and low, under the cushions, behind the couch, even in the fridge, but no luck. And then, just as you're about to give up, you find it, right there on the coffee table, where you had checked at least 3 times before. That's our ghostly roommate for you, always up for a game of hide and seek. Or how about this one? You're finally getting to the climax of that thriller novel you've been engrossed in for the past week. Just as you're about to turn the page to the big reveal, you find the last chapter missing, torn right out of the book. You can almost hear the spirit laughing at your frustration, but the mischief doesn't stop at small pranks. Oh no, our spectral roommate has a flair for the dramatic. Picture this. You've invited friends over for movie night. Just as the suspense is building, the screen goes dark. The lights start to flicker, and you're left in a room full of terrified friends, with popcorn flying everywhere. And then, just like that, the lights come back on, the movie resumes, and you're left wondering if you should switch to comedy nights instead. The spirit's mischief escalates to a point where you start considering if you should start looking up local exorcists in the yellow pages. Or perhaps you could invest in a very powerful vacuum cleaner. One that could suck up even the most stubborn of spirits. But let's be honest, despite the pranks and the frights, life with an unruly roommate from the other side does make for some great stories, doesn't it? At this point, you'd probably be considering an exorcist, or at least a very strong vacuum cleaner. But every haunting has its breaking point. And for our unsuspecting protagonist, it came on a quiet Tuesday evening. Picture this. You've just come home after a long day, eager to tuck into your favorite comfort food. You open the fridge, and there it is, staring back at you, a jungle of ghost peppers, where your beloved leftovers once stood. The spirit had struck again, but that wasn't the end. Just as you're wrestling with the shock of your culinary catastrophe, a spine-chilling sound pierces the silence. Your alarm clock, set to go off at the witching hour, erupts into a symphony of spectral screams. It's enough to send shivers down the spine of even the bravest of souls. This, dear listeners, is the final straw. The moment when the spectral shenanigans cross the line from amusingly eerie to downright intolerable. And that's when you know it's time to put your foot down, or in this case, through the spirit. So how does one deal with such an unruly, incorporeal roommate? Well, folks, it's not as easy as calling the landlord. One might resort to setting up a ghost trap right out of a comic book with a pentagram and everything, but let me tell you, that's just a recipe for a messy living room. And then there are those who would suggest hiring a medium, some dubious character you found on a questionable online ad, who comes with a crystal ball and a suspiciously fake accent. But as it turns out, even spirits aren't gullible enough to fall for that. And in the end, it's the mundane that saves the day. Imagine this. The spirit, bored out of its spectral mind, decides that haunting a human is not as entertaining as it thought. And just like that, you're back to being the only one leaving dirty dishes in the sink.